Jai Sriman Narayana, Hare Krishna. So today we're going to look at another sloka that is 2.14 from Bhagavad Gita. It's 2.14 sloka, and it is said like this: matra-sparshas kaunteya sitoshna sukha agama payinas nityo tam tatikshasva bharata. Okay, so let's try to understand the sloka. But before we go ahead and try to understand the sloka, let's also try to understand why Krishna is actually talking about this sloka. Okay, so chapter one starts like this, where Arjuna sees the army, right, and then he's completely distressed. So he gives lots of reasons, and then he says that I cannot fight. That is all what happens in the first chapter. And in the second chapter he completely says that I cannot really fight, and I am your student. I am surrendering unto you, so for that reason you have to help me. Okay, so that is the kind of statement that Arjuna says, and for that reason Krishna starts disseminating the knowledge. He tries to uplift him, saying that you have to fight. Okay, and in that sequence, this sloka comes matra-sparshas kaunteya. So here Krishna says that tolerance is really very important. It's a very important thing, and this sloka is also really very important for people in this world, in this age. Tolerance is really very important. So let's go ahead and look at this sloka, what Krishna says. Matra sparshastu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkha agama payana nityas tam tatikshasva bharata. So he says matra sparsha. Sparsha means what? Sparsha. Sense. It's like, in simple words, sparsha means, what you can understand, is the touch. Right? Correct? So it is the feeling. Matra means the contact of senses, right? And these senses, contact of senses, it's like matra means this sight, smell, taste, touch, and hearing. So these are all the matras. Okay, so matra sparsha means contact of the senses. Two, indeed. Okay, kaunteya, this is something which we have been listening throughout the first chapter and also the second chapter till 14th verses. So kaunteya means the son of Kunti. That's why he's called as kaunteya. Okay, matra sparshasta kaunteya sita shitoshna. Okay, shita ushna, it's called as sitoshna. Shita, shitalam, ushna. What is shita? Winter. It's very, not very, but when you try to analyze, when you try to think about it, then yes, you will be able to understand the meaning of it. Ta plus ushna. What is ushna? It is very easy. Ushnamu. That is summer, right? So shita, ushna, shitoshna. Sukha dukkha. This is very simple. Everybody can understand, right? Sukha means happiness. Dukkha means obviously sadness or distress, right? Sitoshna sukha dukkha daha. Daha means it gives. Okay. Agama. Agama. Even this is, if you try to analyze, think about it, then yes, you will be able to understand. Agama means which comes, that comes to you. Agama. Okay. Agama. Apayinaha. Agama payino. It says it's the combination of these two words. Agama payino. So payino. Payino. So people whose mother tongue is Telugu can also understand this. Payino means gone. Agama means comes. And payino means goes. Anityaha. Nitya and anitya. Okay. Nitya means permanent. Anitya means non-permanent. Correct? So this Sanskrit, yes, our all Indian languages. Oh, I'm so sorry, I cannot say that, but all the languages in the world are derived from the language called Sanskrit. That's why Sanskrit is called as uh, the mother language for all the languages. Okay, agama pa, nityas tam. Okay, Tan, then. In simple words, it can be said as then. Titikshasva. Titikshasva means tolerate. Bharata means the descendant of Bharata, the king, the descendant of King Bharata. Okay, so this is the sloka. Matra-sparshas kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkha agama payino nityastan titikshasva Bharata. So now we have understood the meaning, word by word meaning of this sloka. Okay. So now I will try to put it in sentence. So what does Krishna say? So Krishna says, "O son of Kunti." Okay, kaunteya. The contact between the senses that is just now we've discussed, right? Smell, sense, taste, touch, and hearing. Okay. The contact between the senses and the sense objects. Sense objects could be different, right? For sight, it is a beautiful object. It is a nice vigraha of Lord Vishnu, or for another person, it could be a nice, beautiful lady. For another person, it could be a beautiful scenery like a beautiful peacock, right? It depends. So that is sight. Smell, for some person, it could be the smell of the rain, that falls on the land or on the ground. For some person, it could be something else. So it all depends on perception to person based on his vasanas. Okay, so that is what he says. The contact between the senses and sense objects that gives rise to the different perceptions, that gives rise to different perceptions of happiness and distress. So for some people, as we've just discussed, uh, for example, I'll tell you, for a person like me or for many people like us, if a person is smoking just beside you or closer to you, you get very much irritated. But the same person who is smoking, he enjoys it. He enjoys it as if he is in, as if he is in he's experiencing some kind of euphoria, right? So it is something great for him. That is happiness for him. But for us, it is something very irritating, something which is very stressing and distressing. It is very irritating for us, right? For another person, let's say for a person like for many people like you guys, right? When you go to a market and there are some people who are slaughtering what do you call this, goats and hens and fishes, and the smell is really very disgusting for some or many of you people, right? But for other people who are buying that stuff, that be it fish or goat or whatever it is, they enjoy the smell, and that is the reason they are going to that place, and they like to see that place without any kind of what you call feelings. They don't have any feelings. They just go by and then they come out, right? That is the difference. You getting it? So here Krishna says this contact between the senses and the sense objects, it used to the fleeting perceptions of happiness and distress. And he says this is non-permanent. It is not something which is permanent all the time. It is very much temporary. It just comes and goes. And you just have to bear it for some point of time. Right? They come and go. And he also gives the examples in his words. That is Sitochna, Shita plus Ushna. Shita, as I told you, it is winter season, and Ushna, it is summer season. Right? So he gives the example, Shitoshna. So just like summer and winter season comes, here he says summer and winter, but in practicality, we can understand in a year, especially in a country like India, we know that we have summer season, winter season, rainy season, right? So these three seasons keep coming and going every year, but they are not permanent, right? It is just temporary. So just say some 3 months or 4 months it comes and then it goes away. So we should not get carried away. We should not get into disappointment. Oh no, this summer season is so hot. Oh no, this winter season is so cold. Oh no, this rainy season is so it's very difficult. I'm not able to bear the rains because we all know what kind of rains come in our be it in Telangana or in Andhra Pradesh. All the roads are packed, right? all the manholes are open, and we know what all kinds of things can happen, right? So we should not get into that stress mode, saying that, oh, this is very difficult. He says, oh, descendant of Bharata, you must learn to tolerate them without being distressed. So he says, tolerate. Tolerance is very important for all human beings, but here he says to Arjuna, tolerate this thing. Should not get carried away by the stuff. Okay, so this is what Krishna says to Arjuna. So now you tell me, don't you think this tolerance is really very important for us? Now, if you look at this complete sloka, he says the so-called stress or whatever it is, right? Happiness or distress or whatever it is, they keep coming and then they keep going. What do you really understand? What can you think of it? You can you recollect the quote in English which says there is nothing permanent in this world other than change. Can you recollect this quote? Yeah. So do you think this quote has been derived from this sloka? Absolutely yes. No person comes up with something extraordinary from his own thought process. Everybody needs some kind of reference. Even for me, when I'm talking about this podcast and sharing my so-called little learning, whatever I have, it is based on some kind of reference materials. That is the Acharya's words that I have heard, right? It is just the Acharya's words, and I'm just trying to be a tape recorder, just trying to repeat what I have heard and share a bit of experiences that I realized from my life. So it is all based on references. Okay, so there is a nice quote. There is nothing permanent in this world other than change. So this nice quote, I don't know who said this, but then it obviously comes from Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita was spoken some 5,500 years back. That was by the Supreme Lord Krishna, Govinda, right? And it's not. This nothing is permanent in this world. It's not the first time. This has been spoken a number of times. Okay, but in Dwapar Yuga, it was said by Lord Krishna. Fine. Now you understood that there is nothing permanent in this world other than change. And yes, just like seasons keep coming and going, in the same way, happiness and distress comes. Fine, fantastic. You understood that. And you also understood tolerance is very important. Correct? So now let's try to understand why this tolerance is important. Okay? So, tolerance. Without tolerance, can you just imagine how tolerant your wife is? And now I'm trying to share some insights with a practical experience. Let's try to understand how tolerant your wives are in your houses, right? They're very tolerant. Maybe some people say some kind of crappy jokes on your wives, and they are tolerant, right? And sometimes you got irritated with lots of things at your workplace or whatever it is. You come to your home, and then you vent out all your anger on your wife for no reason. Just imagine how tolerant she is, right? Sometimes you shout at your mother or your father. Just imagine how tolerant they are, especially mothers, right? So tolerance is really very important. And that is why Krishna is saying Arjuna to be tolerant. Why should he be tolerant? And what is the reason for being tolerant? Is anybody coming and shouting at Arjuna? No, not really. Nobody is coming and shouting at Arjuna. So why is he saying that be tolerant? The reason is he's getting carried away by the senses, the sense objects. What is the sense objects? Sense objects is the war field. He's seeing his own relatives. He's seeing his friends. He's seeing his dear ones. And his purpose is to, and now his objective or his karma is to fight. His dharma is to fight now. But he's saying, no, I cannot fight. I cannot fight because I cannot kill these people. They are very dear to me. Allow them. So I cannot fight. That is why Krishna is saying, be tolerant and do your dharma and fight for the sake of dharma, because you are a kshatriya. As a kshatriya, you are supposed to fight for the right cause, for the dharmic reason. You are not fighting just to show your power. It is to protect. the weak. And who is the weak? It is the society. The society is being ruled by the so-called Kauravas, who are demoniac in nature, who are cruel in nature, right? Who are always into adharma. You can understand what kind of adharma they are into. When a person, when Kauravas have disrobed Draupadi in front of all the people just because they had that hatred and envy for Pandavas, they did this. So you can understand what kind of cruelty they have in their minds, what kind of envy they have in their minds, right? So it's not just one reason. It's not just this one thing. There are many more things. If you go through the epic Itihasa Mahabharata, you can find so many things, right? So that is why Krishna says you have to fight. You are a Kshatriya, so you please go ahead and fight. And he gives us examples that just like summer season, winter season, rainy season comes and goes in the same way, this happiness and distress comes and goes. So you have to tolerate. So is Krishna telling only to Arjuna? No. He is telling to the complete mankind. He is telling to the complete human race that we all have to be tolerant. We all have to bear this pains, gains with same attitude. We should not get carried away with the so-called stress or be it happiness. We should not get carried away. This is what Krishna says. Isn't this practical to us? It is very much practical. Bhagavad Gita, as I said to you before, as I reiterated before, it is not a religious text. It is a practical guide. It is a manual for human race. We all have to refer this, right? It is said, I think I've already told you this before, but I'll again reiterate. It's in the last, in the 18th chapter, Sanjaya says, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno Yatra Partho Dhanugraha Tatra Stri Vijayo Bhudi Dhruvani Tarama. So he says, wherever there is Arjuna, wherever there is Supreme Lord Krishna, their success is must and should. Okay, fine. Now, what are you telling? Why are you telling this? It says it's not just for Arjuna. Wherever there is Supreme Lord Govinda, Narayana, Krishna, and wherever there is a sincere devotee who is trying to follow the instructions of the Supreme Lord Krishna, then yes, the success is guaranteed. This is a message for us. So wherever there is a devotee, so we all are devotees, right? We're all jivatmas. We surrender unto him. We pray to him, right? We always go to his shelter. We go to him and pray to him, saying, Govinda, please help me. Narayana, please help me, right? Or maybe Lord Shiva, please help me, who is another incarnation of the Supreme Lord Narayana, right? It's another avatar, Tomoguna avatar, or Rajoguna avatar as Brahma, whatever it is. So you're going to some Lord, to some God, and then you are saying, please help me, right? So it says, wherever there is Supreme Lord, and wherever there is a nice devotee who follows the instructions of the Supreme Lord, there is success for sure. So we all have to be tolerant. Krishna is telling to us, Supreme Lord Narayana is telling these instructions to us to be tolerant. Okay, so now you understood. I hope you understood the importance of tolerance. Okay, so here, now let's try to take this scenario a bit more practically. Okay, in practical context. What do you mean by in practical context? We see so many children today who are just in teenage, right? Who are just in teenage, some 10th class, 11th class, or 12th class, or intermediate, something like that, or probably engineering, or say MBBS, or whatever it is, who are into the, what do you call, uh, brahmachari mode, right? Who are still studying. So they fail an exam, or somebody does some kind of ragging, right? And they go for a suicide. It's such a, I know it's a very difficult thing to go through. Let's say ragging, for example, it's a very difficult thing to go through, but you have to tolerate. You have to go to the right people. Even in some situations, you go to some people, but it's not working out, then you have to tolerate, because even the so-called ragging will not go through all throughout the year, right? It will just happen for a month or probably for 2 months. That's it. So you have to tolerate. This is what I can think of. I know it's a very difficult thing and it's a very simple statement that I'm telling you, but yes, person has to tolerate. Okay, if you don't tolerate, take it going for a suicide. Is that a good idea by any chance? Yes, you don't have the tolerance attitude. You are from a very good family, or probably you're a very sensitive person. Okay, fine, fantastic, that's nice. But is suicide a good option? Absolutely not, right? Because you have so many near and dear ones. Your parents, your family members, they love you. They have been taking care of you. They have been educating you from very long time. They have so many hopes on you. Just going for a suicide is a very, very wrong thing. And there is no good that is going to happen by going for a suicide, right? So, as a student, yes, ragging is a difficult thing, but you have to tolerate. Failing an examination, right? It is also a very difficult thing. Maybe because of your health reasons you failed, or maybe you did not study, you failed, or maybe you had some personal problems, you failed the exam. There could be a number of reasons. But going for a suicide is something inexcusable. It is not correct. We have got this human body after some millions and zillions of births. So many births we have taken, and we cannot go for a suicide, right? So just because you failed an exam, no, you cannot. If you fail an exam, then yes, you have supplementary orals next year. There is a nice comedy in which used to happen in our in my college days. If not March or April, there is no person who used to just get so much carried away saying that I failed my exam. Everybody was in cool attitude, and I tell you seriously, I know some of my friends who have failed the examinations, who had many backlogs, who had like 7 to 8 backlogs. When I was a student, I know some of my friends, and yes, they failed. This, they could not complete the courses in 3 years, and then in 1 year. But we all completed in 3 years. But some of my friends took 4 years to complete the course. But then, trust me, today they are in a very good position. They are working as software engineers, senior software engineers. They're working as team leads, and some people have also settled in America and UK, and they're doing very good. So if they would have thought that, oh no, I have failed my exam, I'm going for a suicide, just imagine what would have happened. Now they are really so happy. Those people, so they are all my contemporaries. So that means they would be in the age like 36 or 37, something like that, right? And they are all so happy. They have purchased houses, land, apartments. Some people are settled in UK, America, and they're leading a good life. So just because you failed an exam, you don't go for a suicide. You should be tolerant. You should understand why I have failed. What was the reason? And you should think how you can come across that situation and take the exam next year and then come out, pass the exam, come out in flying colors. That is how you need to think. Just because you failed the exam, no, you cannot go for a suicide. Just because somebody is ragging you, no, you cannot go for a suicide. Just because your business got into losses, another example. Yes, you might have invested lots of money, or probably you might have got money from some person on a loan and just got into losses. You cannot go for a suicide. What about your family? What about your wife? What about your children? You cannot go for a suicide. Who will take care of them? Right? You understanding? So suicide is not at all the right option. So these are all different examples. Why I'm talking about this? I'm talking in practical context. Why tolerance is important. Okay. Mahatma Gandhi, we all know the story of Mahatma Gandhi, how tolerant he was. And finally, when he was in South Africa, you know what all kind of incidents have happened in South Africa, right? He came back to India, and then now he's called as the father of the nation, right? So it is tolerance. Tolerance is really very important. Another example, let's say you have a misunderstanding with your wife. So can you go for a suicide? Because in newspapers we see lots of situations, lots of scenarios where a wife does some wrong thing, and then this person leaves a note, a suicide note, says that, and saying that she is the reason for my suicide. Okay, if she has done something wrong, fine, give it up. If you're not happy with her, go for a divorce. And if she has done some miserable mistake, grave mistake, then go for a divorce, and then just get out of the hell, and then live your life, because it's not just wife that is your life, right? Your life is not about all about your wife, right? If she has done such a miserable mistake, give up, okay, and then go for your life, live your life. If you want to get married, go, because I am yeah, it's not like yes, I believe in Supreme Lord Narayana. I have great respect and I love Supreme Lord Rama. Yes, it is right, but with respect to the time, things keep changing. Once upon a time there was Sati Sahagamanam, right? So we are not taking that practice even today into consideration, right? Things are getting changed, so we have to get changed. Just because your wife is not compatible with you, she's not listening to you, or maybe some other reason, okay, you cannot fight with her, or you cannot manhandle her, or and get into another nonsensical activity like getting into jails and all that. And if she has done some miserable activity that it is absolutely impossible to live life with her, then go for a divorce, but don't go for a suicide. Tolerance is important. What I'm trying to say is tolerance is really very important in our lives. Misunderstanding with our family members, be it with your mother or father. I know it cannot really happen. You have a fight with your mother, you will never go for a suicide, sure. So this is, but you need to be tolerant. But the same mother, she again takes care of you. Maybe after few hours, or maybe after a day, or maybe few days, she comes back to you. She takes care of you, right? So you have to be tolerant. And another important thing, at our office. You had a fight with your boss. You cannot booze and go to his home or go to your office and have a fight with your boss. It is ridiculous, right? You're gonna screw up your career. You're gonna destroy your career, right? You cannot do that. So tolerant. Just because your boss has appreciated you, the same boss might have appreciated you some months back or some days back, but you just made small mistake or maybe a big mistake. He criticized you in front of all people, right? So for that reason, you cannot, you cannot vent out your anger to him and then spoil your career and completely, screw up your career. You cannot do that. You need to be tolerant. Or probably another scenario, you cannot even resign, because resignations, it costs you a lot, especially in the tough times when there is recession and when there is all this when there is this crisis, corona crisis, when the economy is completely shattered, you cannot go for this kind of big mistakes, right? So I'm just trying to come up in different practical angles to give you that uh, enlightenment, that tolerance is really very important. If you are so much pissed off with the situations, try doing something which will make you happy. Try to spend time with your kids if you think they're going to give you some kind of peace of mind, or try spending time with some, with your near ones, or maybe try to listen some kind of music. Do something which actually soothes your mind, soothes your heart, right? So do something which will simmer your mind, okay? But don't aggravate yourself and get into another mess. Don't do that. So tolerance is really very important. If we look at our itihasas like Ramayana, there was great tolerance that we can see from different characters. Lord Rama, if he is the supreme Lord Narayana, he is the supreme Lord Narayana. The moment uh, he comes onto the earth, he can take a bow and arrow and he can shoot Ravana and then kill him. But look at his tolerance, right? He was separated from his wife for 9 months. Look at his tolerance, right? He sometimes, though he is considered as a human avatar, he is considered as a Manushya avatar, but still sometimes he exhibits his supreme lord's characteristics, like when Jatayu dies. When Jatayu dies, he says, I assure you that you get Swargaloka, just like my father has got. How can a manly person say that? Right? How can a Jivatma say that? So sometimes he exhibits his Paramatma characteristics, Paramatma position, his Paramatma qualities. He exhibits it by some or the other instance. But tolerance, though he is the Supreme Lord, he exhibits his tolerance nature. So he is exemplifying that all we Jivatmas should have tolerance and attitude. Even Lord Krishna, Paripurna Avatara of the Supreme Lord Narayana, even he doesn't kill all the demons once he is born. If he had to kill Kamsa, he would have killed even as a infant. But he doesn't do that. He's so tolerant. He's so tolerant. He shows tolerance, and then at the age of some 12 years, he kills the demon Kamsa. Right? So you need to understand that tolerance is really very important. Now look at this. Look at the way how this system is working, how this creation is working. We all have made mistakes. We all, and I have made a number of mistakes in my life. Probably I am an epitome of mistakes. So if I was finished on my first mistake, I would have never become a so-called devotee or this so-called small iota of devotion in my life. I would have never ever surrendered to Supreme Lord Govinda if I was finished at my first mistake. So look at this creation, how this the system, how it is working. Supreme Lord Govinda Narayana has got so much tolerance. He keeps on giving chances. He keeps on giving chances. And that is the reason why we are all living today. Be it me or be it, anybody in this world. We all are tend to make mistakes. Right? We have made so many mistakes in our lives. It's a big saga, right? It's a long list. It's a never-ending list indeed. Imagine, for example, I have lived for 36 years in my life. I can say I cannot count the number of mistakes that I have made. But Supreme Lord Govinda is so tolerant that he said, "Okay, chalo, leave it. I'll excuse you. I will excuse you. I will excuse you." And some point of time, by the mercy of Supreme Lord Narayana, Govinda, and by the mercy of Acharyas, I got a bit of knowledge, an inch of knowledge, an iota of knowledge, and I changed my life. Right? So tolerance. Look at this tolerance, Supreme Lord's tolerance. So you might be wondering, why is Supreme Lord, why isn't he finishing off, destroying all this demoniac people? Because he keeps on giving chances. He's such a nice person. And that is the reason why all these people are living alive. So he exemplifies his tolerance attitude, and we also should exemplify the same tolerance attitude in our lives and go ahead in our lives. Okay, so even yeah, I have to I somehow recollect this example of Supreme Lord Krishna, where Arjuna has a habit of going for suicides every now and then. Whenever he fails in his promise, then he says, I'm going for a suicide." Then, but Krishna always protected him for in each and every instance. At a time, he promised that he's going to protect a Brahmana's child or a newborn. Okay, but he wasn't able to protect that newborn child. So that newborn is the newborn is again dead, and then Arjuna says, "Okay, I'm going for suicide." Then Krishna says, "No, no, 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 don't worry. Okay, don't worry. I'm going to get that child's life back again." And then he takes Arjuna onto his back, onto his chariot, and then he goes across all this planetary system, all these universes, and he goes to the supreme abode. And then he says, "Arjuna, you wait here. Okay, you wait here, and I'm going to get that life." And then he goes there and he gets the life. He gets the life of that child, and also he gets the other five kids who were born to the same Brahmana, and the other five souls of that kids. Okay, and then he comes back to the chariot, and then he gives all the jivatmas and the bodies of that five kids who died before, and also the newborn that who has died just few hours before. So he comes back and then he gives it to the Brahmana. So Arjuna was saved. So Arjuna doesn't go for suicide. Arjuna in the war field, uh, Abhimanyu, when Abhimanyu was killed mercilessly by all the Kauravas, then Arjuna says, "If I am not going to kill my, this person called Jayadratha, okay, then I'm going for a suicide." Then he wasn't able to. Almost at the nick of the moment, okay, then Krishna comes and then he senses what do you call chakrayudam. He senses chakrayudam and he overrides the sun, and then it looks like it becomes like an evening, and then Jayadratha comes out, he stands, and then Arjuna shoots. So again Arjuna was saved. So whenever Arjuna says that I'm going for a suicide, then Krishna says, no, 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 you cannot do that. And he keeps saving him. So Krishna has saved Pandavas and Arjuna n number of times, or else all Pandavas would have been finished very long time back. So now Krishna is saying that you have to fight for the right cause. You are a Kshatriya, you have to fight. And the so-called happiness and distress is something which is non-permanent, which is temporary, which keeps coming and going, just like waves keep coming and going, just like the summer and winter season, which keeps coming and going. In the same way, the so-called happiness and distress keeps coming and going. So be tolerant and face it. And when you face this as a matured person, that is how you will become a wise person. When you are unaffected by the so-called happiness and distress, that is when you will get uplifted. That is when you will be able to understand Supreme Lord's signs. That is when you will be able to understand this supreme consciousness. Or else you're always carried away with the sense gratifications or the senses, because senses are like wild horses. They always keep telling us to do all nonsensical things that we're not supposed to do, right? They always entice you with all different kinds of objects and different kinds of things. So tolerance is really very important. That is the importance of this sloka. So I have tried my level best to cover it from Bhagavad Gita perspective, Mahabharata perspective, and also talking about different ihasas, how Lord Rama and how Lord Krishna has exemplified the tolerance, and how tolerance is even now running in this world, right? Because of that great, extraordinary tolerance, we are still living alive, and we are able to do all our activities, and I'm able to talk, I'm able to do my work, right? So all these things are happening because of tolerance. We all need to exhibit this tolerance, okay? And we need to go ahead in our lives following dharma. It is not doing all our whimsical activities or whimsical actions, that whatever comes into our mind. It is following dharma. This is how we need to live our life. Okay, so that is all from my side. So if there are any questions, please let me know, and I would be happy to try my level best to give you some more insights if you have any questions on this sloka. Matra-sparshas kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkha agama payino nityastam pratiksha bharata, which means summer season and winter season. Just like summer and winter season comes, okay, so you should never get carried away. You should never become extremely happy or extremely disappointed, distressed with the so-called instances that's happening in your life. You should take it as it comes. Another example that I can think of: your wife maybe is cooking in your kitchen in the summer season. Now this is summer season, right? Super hot, but she is cooking all through the summer season. Now she is not saying that no, I cannot cook this food. It's super hot. I cannot do this. She's not telling it, right? And another example: in the winter season, it's very cold, right? It's super cold, and you all are taking baths with cold water, or maybe some of you are taking, you're having your bath with cold water, right? So in the winter season, it is very difficult to take cold water baths, and in the summer season, it's very difficult to cook food, right? You understanding, right? So you cannot just get into you cannot say you cannot give up your dharma just because some things is good, some things are not good. You have to go ahead with your life. You have to wake up early in the morning, because that is Brahma Muhurta, and that is the time you can do all your important activities, whatever is important for you. Is you can do that at that point of time, and by doing that, you will be able to have the peace of mind, and you will be able to complete your activities in a very quick time. I hope you remember when we were kids, or many of you were kids. Even today, parents say wake up early in the morning and study, because you grasp things very quickly, because that is the time when your mind is very much active, right? Well, fine. I have given you a number of examples. Thank you so much. I hope you have liked this explanation. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Jai Sriman Narayana. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Sriman Narayana.